Hi beautiful friends, welcome to today's video. I'm so happy to be here with you today and talk about a very important concept, and it's so much more than a concept. It's an embodiment. It is a way of life, actually, when you are wanting to make very quick transitions in your life, when you're very ready to move from one way of being to another way of being, or you're ready to make this much money to this next amount of money, or you're ready for any sort of upgrade whatsoever. This is the quality. This is it. In my experience, forgiveness is this core word. It's a core action that takes place. And just in the same way when we talked about doubt, the same message there around the potency of the words that we choose and the relationship that we have with words can be so empowering. It can be so life-changing. And forgiveness is one of those words that understanding what it feels like has been just like the greatest tool for me. It's been the greatest thing because I've been able to move on from things really quickly, like really quickly, you know? Gosh, I don't even know. I mean, there's so many examples of things that have happened in my life, and I'll be met, okay, so I'll need to give one specifically to make this work. So, I'll just use the fire, I think. There's so many. I'll use the fire. When my family experienced a fire and we lost almost everything in that fire, all of our personal possessions, all of my photos of my daughter before, all of her photos, because it was on hard drives, and I was in the process of backing things up, but I didn't complete that project. Lots of things, right? Like that's hard. I immediately, after that happened, because that wasn't my first rodeo, that wasn't this first moment in my life where I felt like this sense of, oh my gosh, like this is really, really bad. What I had learned was like, okay, the faster I can find out the place within myself that needs to be forgiven, the faster I will heal, and not only heal, but expand beyond the place that I was before this event happened. Forgiveness is an entry point into massive expansion and evolution on your journey. And without it, I don't know. I don't know how you do it. Because it has been the thing that I continue to go back to over and over again, and it is a choice. Okay, so forgiveness feels like making an internal choice, because when something happens in your life where you're being called to forgive another person, a lot of the times, usually we start to learn forgiveness through things that other people do to us. And then we are really shocked by their actions, and we have to find a place of forgiveness within ourselves, right? This starts very young. It's a choice, though. It's a choice that's made, that I was feeling this way and believing this thing, and now I'm going to choose to set that down and look at it in a new way. Right? It doesn't mean what I set down leaves me forever, but I set it down on the ground and it's not something that I'm holding any longer. It's still in the inventory of life experiences, but it's no longer something that I'm giving my energy to, right? So that would be sort of like an analogy of like how you can imagine forgiveness to happen. I find I have to do a lot of silence and a lot of breathing And there's a lot, and invoking grace, and invoking, you know, qualities that are bigger than me to come in and assist me in moments of forgiveness. It's also, forgiveness invites us into, how do we really want to live? Do we want to hold grudges? Do we want to live that way? Do we want to hold resentment in our field? Do we want to live that way? Do you want to hold contempt? Do you want to feel awkward? Do you know? No. So you have the power to change all of that. And the first step is to find what needs to be forgiven. What do I need to soften towards? What can I release? What's the belief that can just be released? What is the thing that isn't actually true in alignment with the highest version of myself that I know that I am on a higher dimensional level? We are multidimensional beings. Forgiveness is entirely easier to do when you can connect with your higher self or your higher dimensional existence. When you do that, forgiveness becomes very clear. Then, on a human level, it's a conscious choice to continue to honor that choice, to continue to honor that perspective. And that's where, you know, that's where we can find ourselves sort of like in loops, or in those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, like I thought this was over. I thought I had worked through this. We all have those moments. And just like in the video with Sarah LaRosa, how we talked about, it's a labyrinth, right? You're turning the corners, but you're getting closer to the center. Remember that bit in that video? Is so good. It's like that. It's like you're not exactly looping, but you're getting closer to the core thing that needs to be forgiven within you. Forgiveness directly aligns you with your truth. That's what it does. When you realize, like, okay, I'm ready to forgive. I'm ready to be more forgiving. I'm ready to forgive him for what he did to me. I'm ready to forgive that family member for, you know, impressing those beliefs on me at such a young, innocent age. I'm willing to forgive myself for, you know, even, I don't know, feeling like you couldn't be stronger in such a little human body. Can you just forgive yourself? You were in a very vulnerable position. That's life, okay? Life unfolds in some really crunchy ways sometimes. We agree to interact with a lot of different types of consciousness in these journeys, right? So what happens is you have the dance with that consciousness that just really turns you off, right? But what does that do ultimately? Ultimately, you're being shown the place within you that needed to be forgiven and be accepted. There's an aspect of yourself that's saying, like, can you accept me? Can you accept this part? When we forgive, we say, yes, I can accept the totality of who I am, and I can start to clearly distinguish who I am and who I am not any longer, right? It's a very transitional moment, forgiveness. It's very much like, okay, you walk from one room to another room. It is, yeah, it's when you really, really forgive, your entire life gets kind of put on a different path. And so I believe that this work of forgiveness it's like kind of like this ultimate energetic hygiene too. it is this way, like just in the same way that you do like a really, you know, incredible spa day of self-care, right? And you really, like, you do the nails, you take care of every inch of skin on your body, you get your hair trimmed, right? You do all of it. That is sort of what forgiveness feels like to me. It feels like it takes time, it takes pampering, it takes being comfortable to like shed that skin and step into that new way of being. And there's a commitment of not holding any grudges either. You don't need to forgive and forget, but it's a little bit there. That's like a gray phrase for me, because there's times where, yeah, just let it go. Just let it go and allow that if that person is saying that they're changing, allow them to, right? This is going to be completely guided by your divine will and by your higher self. That is a completely gray area. You know, I do not think that there are hard and fast rules around forgiveness. I think that's the beauty of it. I think it's completely personal, and it's one of the great teachers of life on how to forgive completely. How to really do it completely, not just a little bit, completely, and accept the new reality that you believe in. You believe in it. Our beliefs are everything, right? So it's a belief shifting feeling and action that we take. And I believe life is better when we are generous with forgiveness, you know, but wise. Wise. And focused and aware and discerning. For sure. But most of the time, I think forgiving, and I think humbly recognizing when we're being fed a truth that we needed to see about ourselves. You know? And then the thank you and the bow and the namaste and then leaving that room and never going back feels great. It feels appropriate, feels loving. Right? Loving that community, that spiritual community, or that group of friends, or that whatever, that were just spinning you around in loops and really there to be the dark guru, to show you who you are and who you aren't. Like, oh, okay. Thank you. I can see that now. Peace out. Peace be with you. I will be leaving now and moving on, right? Because I forgave. And that's what it allows us to do. It allows us to move on and expand and evolve and say yes to more life. And that's what it's all about. So I love you so much. I've got lots of resources for you guys in the description. I've got a women's community that I'm absolutely loving, a monthly membership that you guys can check out. Come join us. Please come join us. Come play with us. Come be in our Telegram room. Come, you know, like be with us there. I would really, really enjoy that. You are invited to come and join, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.